Hey guys, Romie here. Please like, comment, subscribe. This is my review for 7 seconds. My channel is Romie Reviews, and this is a Romie Reviews segment for the Netflix series 7 Seconds. And I have to calm down because this show! Oh, Jesus. All right. The premise of this show is there's a cop and this is so trash. His name's Pete. His real name's Peter, but we're calling him Pete. So Pete is one of those, he wasn't a rookie, but I guess to that department he was a rookie. He was more so on the whole other side of the tracks, being a suburban cop. So he's not having to deal with breaking up drug rings and prostitution rings and all of that stuff. No, he was more so on the side of giving speeding tickets, giving parking tickets, pulling you over because you had expired plates. That's so just giving you that mindset. His wife Marie, she's pregnant. Apparently she miscarried before, so he's rushing to the hospital. And this is a snowy morning. While he's driving through a park, he boom hits something. What does he hit? A child, a teenager, I should say. And he hit that boy so hard, who was on this bike trying to get through the park. The boy goes flying. He goes flying over into a ditch. And Pete, so like, he calls his let's say lieutenant. And so his lieutenant comes over and he brings his people, and his people are so Mike is the lieutenant, Felix and Joe, they come, well, no, not Joe, but, and the other one, they come along, and what ends up happening is they cover it up. Mike says, we're gonna go and cover this up. We're gonna pretend like this didn't happen. The guy had a grill on the front of his car, so they took the grill off and they hid it. And the messed up part is they looked at the boy. This boy was still alive, because what happens is his mom, she's actually a school teacher. She helped out one of her students find her brother. At first I thought that, oh my gosh, they hit this little boy. That's what they kind of made it seem like, but no, it was the mom, who's played by Regina King. Latrice is the mom, and her son, along with her husband, what's his name? Oh, Isaiah. Yeah, Isaiah's a mess, but their son was the one who was hit. And it's just so messed up, because a dog found this boy. A dog found the boy, and then the dog's owners were the ones who called the cops. There was so much blood, because for 12 hours he was just there in the cold. And long story short, he gets brought to the hospital, and while he's there, Pete, who hit him, actually visited him and left a crane there. What happened after that was the boy died while Latrice was in the hospital, but just somewhere else, just taking a breather. And it was messed up because they were thinking that the boy was going to live. They had this whole prayer circle. The people from the church came to support, and even Isaiah's, I guess it's actually his brother, Seth. He came back from the army, and he sees that his nephew's dead. Essentially sees that, oh, his nephew is maybe getting better. Now his nephew's dead. And so then the show after that takes off, because we have the main culprit, KJ, and that's actually her name, KJ. Her father named her that because it looks like he's also like a high-powered attorney lawyer as well, or possibly even a judge. And his whole thing was that he wanted to make sure that his daughter wasn't just judged based on her name. People would be more inclined to go and call a KJ because they don't know who they're getting. It's like, oh, okay, KJ, cool. And then it's like, oh, she's a woman and she's black? Okay, well, she's here now. And that's what a lot of parents actually do nowadays, especially when they have daughters, especially when they're minorities. They try to give them neutral-ish kind of names. But the whole thing with KJ is she was a drunk. Let's be real. KJ was a drunk. She was a drunk, but she sobered up quickly because the cops were trying to make it seem like, oh, this homeless guy that they chased in the park was the one who did it. KJ actually did some research and realized it couldn't have been the homeless guy. There's no way. He didn't open his booze and his seat was back, so far back as if he was laying down, that he couldn't have drove around the park like that successfully. Come on now. And then so once we figure out that that's not the case, now the whole thing is Joe, who he's so annoying, he's so arrogant. You think the entire time that him and KJ are gonna have a thing. At one point when she had a moment of weakness, she kissed him, but he was like, whoa, 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 what are you doing? And long story short, because I want to fast forward this is already 6 minutes. Long story short, what ends up happening is there's this huge conspiracy. The cops are trying to do their best. Mike and his crew are trying to do the best to cover it up. But trust and believe, Mike has an escape plan. He's definitely going to make sure that Pete can take the fall, just in case they all get pinched for this. And they have a witness. Oh, Lord, that witness was, that little girl was annoying. Nadine. Joe took a liking to Nadine because Joe actually has a younger daughter himself, and but his wife, but his daughter, wants to more so stay at home and be with mom versus him, which that's a blow to your ego. But that wouldn't have happened if you were a better father. I'm just calling it like it is. But you can tell he's a good person because he loves dogs. He loves animals, and he has a whole bunch of dogs. I mean, when KJ went to his house, I was like, oh my God. That's exactly what I did. I was like, no. Anyway, he's kind of the battery in KJ's back whenever she's feeling down, whenever she feels like she can't do it. He's like, yo, what are you doing? I mean, he came to our house multiple times, just shaking her, waking her up like, we have things to do. We have things to do. And the messed up part is, Pete, like I said, I really feel like he wasn't initially a bad guy. He wasn't. He was put in a bad situation, and he was willing to tell the truth, but he wasn't strong enough to really go for it and just do it on his own, because there were other people that he were going to be affected who helped him out, but they also wanted to have something on him. That's the messed up part, because the thing is, he tried to tell the truth, and then he got railroaded. They said, nope, you don't ever do something stupid like that again. I said, oh, okay. Mind you, KJ is running around with Joe now that they have the witness, because Nadine is she's not a trap queen. She is a dope fiend. She loves heroin. She loves heroin, but she loves it in pill form. I said, oh, Lord. Jesus. Because she doesn't like needles, which is very important. She doesn't like needles, and she's a real addict. She's a real addict. She comes from the prissy side of town. Her parents are loaded, and, they did the usual. Our daughter has a drug habit, but instead of just putting her in rehab and helping her get her life together, she goes and finesses us so much. And what pissed me off at one point was when they had her riding around in a nice Mercedes. I said, you don't give someone who has a drug addiction something expensive because they can pawn that quick, fast, and in a hurry to get a quick fix. It's since you're not going to give them money otherwise. And I'm thinking the money. But anyway, I guess they did the best they could with what they had, which wasn't much. Stupid though. Anyway. Oh, Nadine was in the park, was in an abandoned building across the park when the accident happened. So she saw the officers leave the boy there. And I already told you the boy died. The messed up part was the father, he wanted some answers. So Isaiah, he's a Bible thumper. And when I say a Bible thumper, through and through, he actually loses his family. His brother, Seth, he was actually part of a gang, and he goes back to that gang because he needs to get money to try and support himself and his family and make a way, because the army's essentially like, you have to wait 6 months before potentially getting work, or you could always re-enlist and do another tour, because he was in the Air Force. I'm thinking, that is such trash. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? There was even one point where Seth had gone to, because he thought about, I guess, collecting just some money in general and from the army, and what ends up happening is he goes to the place. There's this dude that's just annoying to him, but he follows the dude one day because the dude always tells him to hold his seat, and the guy, he was praying to Allah, and Seth was over it, because you have to remember, Seth came from a religious-based family, i.e. his brother, but his brother crammed it down his throat and judged him for anything that he did that was wrong. And even once he found out, because spoiler alert, let's see, the boy who was actually killed, his friend, his name is K-Deuce, and K-Deuce and him were close, but K-Deuce didn't have like that nice family upbringing, so he was still involved with the streets. And so as a result, Isaiah was like, no, you can't rock with my son if you're going to be out there in the streets, which is fair enough. But again, he's such that Old Testament type where you just feel like you're being judged regardless of what you do. And I felt bad because we find out later on that K-Deuce was, well, when you look at K-Deuce, you kind of get that, you're like, you don't know if it's really him or if it's really his character. But he turned out to be gay. The boy that was killed was gay. And I said, oh. And that's why the boy was powering through on the bike, which was actually Caduceus' bike, through a park when he got hit, because he was trying to get back home. And it's just saying, wow, because he was hiding that, that's why all this happened. Not as far as like the hit and run, but just him being there in the wrong place, the wrong time. That's messed up. That's messed up. That would have hurt my feelings if I found out my son, because my son was gay and he didn't want us to know. Man, that's so messed up. So messed up. But anyway, the boy's name's Brenton, just so that you guys have more context, because that's important. The news was trying to show Brenton in a negative light, saying, oh, this is the type of bike that the gang members that they use, and so he must be gang affiliated. And to make it worse, he has a friend and a family member that is gang affiliated, so he's a thug. That's what they're just painting it as. The department was like, oh, some thug got killed in hit and run. They really didn't care. They didn't care to find out the truth, because they're like, he's some thug, and that's all we need to know. That's all that matters. Thinking, oh. And Marie, Pete's wife, once Pete told her the truth, because Pete was wearing it all over his face, she said, I don't care about another family. I don't care about that woman's son. I don't care about some trap queen's thug son. I care about our family. F her. I said, oh, I almost felt bad that you almost lost a baby. But now, even though that baby is born, and that's the whole thing with Pete, because Pete, again, he's like 10 steps away from doing the right thing, but then something always comes to keep him on that negative path. And part of it was because of his wife, part of it was because of Mike, part of it was because of his father, because his father used to beat the bricks off of him to toughen him up. And so his concept of being a man, taking responsibility and being accountable, is very skewed. And when I say very skewed, I mean he has this falsehoods of what it means to be accountable. Excuse me. So back to Nadine. Nadine, even though she's a loose cannon. They have to keep a watch out for her. They fail. They fail. Because originally they were hiding her out in a hotel. Then they took her to Joe's house. Then they took her to Joe's ex-wife's house. She was doing fine there. She was volunteering at an animal shelter, which is perfect. She took a picture. Actually, Joe took a picture of her and the dog that she really liked. And that dog was the end of her. And that picture was. And I didn't like when he took that picture because it made me feel like, oh my God, what are you doing? Don't do that. Don't do that. It's going to come back. She's going to keep it. She's going to post it. And it's going to, oh my, why? And she did that. She did that. But at this point, the cops got indicted because she saw the car. She saw the car with the stripes, and KJ saw the car with the stripes and realized, oh, it's the police officers. And I forgot how they were able to have enough, but there was a weird situation where the information was leaked. And because the information was leaked, then that's when the case of, okay, we need to look into the officers began. Because the department didn't want that. I mean, the chief flat out said, I know you're all good cops, so be very clear. Don't say anything. Don't do anything. That'll implicate any of us. We follow the law. We follow the instructions, right? And the crazy part about that is there's this black guy who was, when he was being interrogated by KJ and Joe, he wanted to say something. He wanted to say something because he realized, it was like, dang, this young black kid who, you know, everyone's just going to assume is a thug and worthless, he was killed in a hit and run. That's horrible. Horrible. But the chief stepped in and said, that's enough. You can go. You can go. Anyway, Nadine was the linchpin in all of this, and that's why they need to keep her safe. And once they found out who it was, because it was funny, until Joe realized that it was them, he was kind of giving them Mike information, and Mike kept asking him questions, so he kept getting information. So another character I want to bring up is Teresa. Teresa was Maria's cousin, is Maria's cousin, and Teresa was dating one of the other policemen. And the crazy part is, Teresa got pregnant. And it didn't look like a happy pregnant, because she actually tried to take one more drink and one more smoke before she started showing. And it's interesting because at this point the officers were already indicted, and that's when Joe came to the house, and because she had to go on trial and on stand, and she, like, one of the days while they were in court, she fainted because she just couldn't do it. She just couldn't do it because it was just too much. She realized that it was wrong what was going on. And let me back up a little bit more. So the destruction of Latrice and Isaiah's marriage and relationship is because, like I said, Isaiah, he didn't want to listen to his wife. He just wanted to focus on God and how God heals, which he absolutely does. The only issue there is that he wasn't being mindful of the fact that his wife is going through something, and it's different for her. She was losing her mind. Like, originally, she was the one putting pieces together but people were telling her, no, she's crazy. KJ was supposed to go to her to identify Pete, and that didn't work. What ended up happening is, when they got another lead, they went back, they found Latrice. At this point, she moved out of the house. She couldn't be in the same house where her baby boy was, where they just moved, and he didn't even necessarily like it there. And she just felt, I think she realized that the father was so controlling, and that her son couldn't be herself, because she later realized she didn't know for sure that he was gay. She just knew that he was different, but she loved him and accepted him. And the thing with Isaiah was that he never really tried to get to know his son. I think deep down he knew that his son was different as well, and so he was just trying to make sure that he provided for his family, and that was his contribution. But I don't think he really saw himself in his son. So it was interesting when Cadus, uh, when he acknowledged that him and Brenton were in a relationship and how Isaiah lost it. He kicked him out. He kicked Cadus out because it was like, no, you're not going to put that on my son. How dare you? And he was like, that is an abomination. I said, oh, Lord, Old Testament, Old Testament. We're here in Old Testament. Like, dude, still your son. That's the whole thing. It's like, he's still your son. This dude that was essentially growing up with your boy, the crazy... That was just a lot within itself as well. But I'm glad that everyone came together because, yeah, that was powerful. So let me see. Was there anything else before I want to just fast forward this whole process? I will say this one thing. It's interesting how when they raided a drug house, a trap house, whatever it was, and that baby was dead and he had a dirty diaper, I said, oh my God. So did he die from the infection or just malnutrition, or my mind is crazy? So I said, did someone assault that baby? Because you never know. You never know. It could have been anything. And when Pete, because I guess they had to go bring the baby to the hospital, or however it is that cops have to do that when it's something like that, I said, that's a mind F. That really is. I'll give you that. That's a major mind F. Absolutely. We need mandated therapy after something like that. At least in my opinion, that's what should happen, because you can't tell me that you're just going to be coy. It was a baby. A baby. A baby. But let's fast track this. They get the evidence that they need so that now they can put everyone on trial. It goes from all four of them being on trial because they had this high-powered, attorney, the police, and she was, oh, I hated her, but she was good. She was good. And the thing is, I didn't like the fact that KJ was on the case because KJ, let's be honest, KJ isn't qualified. That's the thing with her. She wasn't qualified to, she was a second-rate lawyer. So I said, oh, this case isn't going to win from the jump. But when they're in court, it goes from all four of them being on stand to just Pete. Because originally, they were like, oh, then they helped. But no, Pete essentially took the blame himself. That hurt my feelings. He took the blame himself, which meant the other three, and that was even after Maria told him that that Mike was planning to set you up and kill you. Because Teresa, on the stand, she blurted out that, yo, the grill that actually killed the kid was in Pete's, what do you call it? Pete's pool in the back. And so clearly they were trying to set him up, but he's still protect. That's the thing that irks me. And they already went and killed Nadine because Nadine realized she wanted to go and save the dog before it was euthanized. And she put it out there like, you know, this dog really needs help on social media. So they found the shelter. They knew the shelter. They got the information from the shelter, and then they went and kidnapped Nadine, made it look like it was an overdose, but it was through injection. She doesn't like injection. She likes pills. I said, oh, y'all are trash. Y'all are garbage, actually. Trash is too good for you. Y'all are garbage. Garbage. You hear me? Garbage. And then, and I love the fact that, because the mom, they really try. Latrice, she actually, I thought she was going to get into a relationship, but no. She went to the center for other moms or parents who lost their kids to violence. And so she met this guy there, And he was really supportive. He worked at the docks, and he helped her clear her mind. She became ready to go to court, and KJ was not the right person for the job, because KJ, she tried to go and make it seem like it was a race thing because they wanted to get as many years as possible, and it backfired. It backfired because the other lawyer was able to prove that, hey, how are you calling this a race thing when, and using the same dummy that she had, showed that if you're driving at, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. If you're driving at this angle and this object is like this, but the face is covered up, how can you know if that person was black or not? I said, oh! And I knew she was going to do that because KJ talked about how, oh, he had his hoodie cinched the entire time. That was the reason why he was actually able to live. Because while he was in the hospital, KJ visited him and was able to get the paint chips, and realized the car, it had to be this type of car. They tried to find the car was hidden, but then they, Teresa, while she was at a vigil for this kid, let it be known that I went with my cousin to the hospital from this time to this time. KJ's so dumb, she didn't even realize it, that, oh, she's trying to tell me something. I realized it the moment she repeated it. You only have to tell me something once like that. Come on now. But anyway, yeah, Teresa really let the cat out the bag. A lot of it was because she didn't like Pete, but she had somewhat of a conscience. So I said, okay, Teresa, I mean, we can't invite you to the cookout, but I get, but I was so pissed when KJ lost that moment. And I was so happy when Isaiah went on the stand and he essentially told them that, hey, I have a witness. And I know why my son was there, because they were trying to say, oh, it was something gang related. No, he was coming from his friend's house. And so that's when they brought Kidus there. He went, told the truth that himself and Brenton were in a relationship. And so then the judge was like, all right. So then I said, okay, we have a chance. But then we have Pete go on the stand. He goes on the stand and actually does the whole, look, I did not know that he was black. I did not know that he was hurt. I mean that if he was dead or not, I didn't know. So you can't say that it was because of race. You can't say it was because of this or that. I just know that I was looking at the Statue of Liberty and remembering how my mom, she took me there, and even though it was supposed to be a happy moment, I remember seeing the bruises on the back of her legs and arms and on her back, and I said, oh, all-American police officer. I see what you're trying to do here. We're not stupid. KJ was pissed. Like, we'd all be pissed. And she actually went to the scene of the crime again. Again, it's a different time of year. But she realized, wait a minute now. She went and walked and looked and realized. And I said, oh, you can't see the Statue of Liberty from the car angle. So she went and said, you told us that lovely little story, but be honest with us. Did you actually get out of your car and look to see what happened to Brenton? Or did you just go and stand out in front of your car and then drive away? And as it turns out, if he's saying that he really did look at the Statue of Liberty, then yes, he did look at the boy. He looked at that boy and he still drove away anyway. I said, trash. Sidebar, Felix, which was one of the dirty cops, he was the one that actually killed Natalie through heroin injection. And I'm just like, and my whole thing with this show was, the end result was he got 1 year. He could have at least gotten 3 to 5, but because he was a good officer, and had a clean record before, they gave him 1 year in jail. What? All I want to know, and KJ was, she was, I love the fact that all the black people, everyone that was on Brenton's side, they did not stand up when the when the when the court was in recess, when it was done, when the judge said everyone rise. No, they stood. They were planted in those seats. They only stood up once KJ started to leave, and then everyone started to leave as followed. I said, I know that's right. And the show essentially ends with Seth. The thing is, I don't know what he's gonna do. He's gonna start over, because originally it looked like he was gonna go back, but I knew he wasn't going back into the military. He's gonna start anew, and him and his brother, they're okay. They're okay now, because I think Isaiah realized that he pushed people away. He pushed everyone away. He just worked and didn't really care about them emotionally. So I said, a breakthrough, a breakthrough. But it pissed me off when the church actually sent him a bill for bereavement. I said, no, we're not doing all that. We're not doing all, because that's some real stuff right there. That's some real stuff. But for a season 2, and KJ and Joe, I guess they'll see each other when they see each other, but that's it. I said, dang. I don't know. For season 2, I feel like it would be dope if they could actually kind of merge part of this cast with a whole new story, and see how the people who just went through some bull, how they're able to go and at least get a victory for a new story. Or they may just go and focus on something completely different. I don't know, but I think it would be cool if they could kind of carry over some of this first season into a season 2. Not all of it. Please, not all of it. Because a lot of the main people that we were focused on are dead. So that's that. I mean, Caduce left the state because he got beat up because he went and testified. It's just a lot. It's just a lot. The fact that Seth was being set up to go and kill a police officer potentially because he went down to the station, and Joe was the one who told him, you need to chill. And Joe's words worked, because instead of taking out that gun he had there, he took out a picture of his nephew. And so that was a lot. So yeah, let me know what you think. Please like, comment, subscribe. I know there's a lot that I left out because I wasn't going to go over everything. I just wanted to go and give my synopsis. So it's excellent. It's 10 episodes. It's at least an hour long, or about an hour long. It's great. You need to watch it if you haven't watched it. It's called 7 Seconds on Netflix. Please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already done so. My name is Romie. My channel is Romie Reviews.